places. And you guys know that we come in here, we have intelligent Black people on this platform all the time. Just smart brothers and sisters that are doing amazing things. And so today I have a special guest that's doing really great stuff in the community, doing great stuff in his family, really representing fatherhood, manhood, and intelligent Black people in a great way. His name's Bernard Hardy. Bernard, he actually is a rapper that goes by the name of Big Nard. Big Nard out of the Bronx, and he's a real cool brother, very smart guy. And so I want to ask my brother, how you doing today, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. Pleasure to be here.
Hey, brother, the pleasure's all mine. The pleasure's all mine. Everybody that's coming in, give a greeting to my brother Big Nard. Everybody type Big Nard in the chat, BIGNARD. And we're gonna and I'm gonna tell you why I invited why I invited this brother into the platform. And some of you may see that I actually misspelled the title. I said how a dedicated father and rapper, his infant daughter to read, and I should have put the word taught in there. So reading is fundamental. So I should have been proofreading my own shit. But but anyway, the reason I brought in my brother Bernard, aka Big Nard, is because I met Bernard actually online. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And he was telling me this great story about what he was doing with his daughter and how he's gotten his daughter reading like in a matter of months. Like she's a few months old, 3 months old, 4 months old, and the little girl starts reading and all this other stuff. And a lot of you may know. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you're aware that a child's psychological development, that a lot of their intellect is developed like in the first like 3-4 years of their life. Did you guys know that? Give me a yes or no if you knew that. So what you do with your kids at an early age plays out for the rest of their life. So I was so fascinated by this story. And also he actually is an artist that has some great music. So I said, hey man, why don't you come on the podcast and we can chop it up? So I'm going to quit doing all my yapping. And first of all, I want to start off with asking Bernard, aka Big Nard, where are you from, man? Like tell us about your background.
All right, so I grew up in Hackensack, New Jersey, and grew up in, we call it the Bricks, 230 Central Avenue, and that's pretty much where I grew up. My background is I do computers, like some of the things I like is computers, so infrastructure, technology, like VMware, Cisco, Microsoft, Linux. So I'm an infrastructure engineer, but also I'm technical, and then I got the artistic side, because my mom actually played the piano. She was a professional piano player. And the funny thing is I didn't know. I just found her on Spotify. I just looked her up because I was coming on and you was talking about the music. And my mom, Grace Gospel Singers. And I looked it up and she showed up. It said her maiden name is Finney. So it's Barbara Finney. And it just blew my mind. So my mom and my mom are on Spotify. And I didn't know. My mom passed right before the Twin Towers. So wow. In 2001. Man. Yeah, so that was like a big, exciting thing to see that. Thanks to this, I didn't think to do that, but when I was running it, I was thinking about my mom telling you that I got my music talent came from my mom, and then my engineering came from my father. So
wow,
yeah,
wow. Now, what's your mother's name? What's your father's name?
Yeah, so my mother's Barbara May Finney, and Barbara May Finney Hardy. That's her maiden name, but Barbara Hardy, and then my father's William Hardy, and my father was in the funeral business. So, we've been around a lot of interesting situations.
All right. So was in the funeral business. All right. Well, sorry, bro. Sorry, man. Sorry. I had another button open and that's why you're hearing yourself echo. My bad. Wow, man. So I say to your mama, man, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome to hear. And your father too. So, okay, so you mentioned musician and also you said your technology engineering background that came from your father. So you're deep in the computer thing. So computers are kind of like, is that like a first love for you, or how'd you end up in that field?
Yeah, so the computer field with my father. My father was in the Navy, and so we grew up in the projects, 230 Central Avenue, and I was one of the only kids with a computer. My father bought a computer, so it was an Atari computer. So it's not like this massive high-end computer, but it was an Atari computer at the time, and I was a little kid, so he tried to hide it. I found it, kid, we searching around. I found it, and he got pissed, act like he took it off. I guess that increased me wanting to know it more because he took it away. But he brought it back. I started playing with it, but I was at such a young age. I was in elementary school when he did it, so I was one of the only people in the neighborhood with a computer. And so since it started at that point, I took a liking to it, and throughout my school, it was always into the computer field. I even wrote in my my elementary school yearbook that I wanted to be a computer operator. So back then I knew that this was my path without knowing. And the funny thing is about it is I didn't even know, because in my neighborhood, I was thinking about lifting boxes, and I didn't realize I had all this computer knowledge. So I didn't even understand how to apply it, because I didn't have a direct transfer of how to apply it and realize how valuable the technology was. So I was doing shipping and receiving, and then what started my career is I was doing shipping and receiving for a company called Computer City, been out of business. And what happened is when I walk on the floor, I'm packaging, and when I push the packages onto the floor, people stop me and ask me questions, and then I would answer their questions. So then finally, what wound up happening is people would come and ask specifically for me, because I give you the real. I'm not a salesperson, so I'm telling you how to save money, because I don't have no money. So I tell people, you don't need this. Get this instead of getting that. This will do more than what you expected. And then they're like, yeah. And next thing you know, I had so many people coming back that the shipping and receiving, the sales guy came to the shipping and receiving manager and said, hey, listen, Bernard is, you got a lot of people asking for Bernard. Is it possible we could transfer him into sales? And then the shipping and receiving, he's like, Bernard, he don't know nothing about computers. And then he said, then that's what started it. From there, I came onto the sales floor, and I was working, and that's what started my career in IT. And that was in 1993. I'm 47, by the way. So that was in 1993.
Wow. Okay. So at that time, and when you started your career in IT, were you already doing music? Were you already a rapper, or was there something to come along down the line?
Yeah, I consider a music artist, because I do all types of music, but rap is my main focus. Like I started out rapping. So it was my official rap. It was about 14 years old when I started officially, because somebody asked me to do a song. And so I was just rapping on the street. We on a corner, and we would just be rapping. It was just a thing, not thinking of making a song. It was just rapping. And back then, this is the infant stages of hip hop. So I was rapping back then. And then when somebody asked me to do a song, and they'll get it out. The guy was lying, which I'm happy that he did it. It actually got me to do a song. And I had a couple of friends help me. Like I had a couple of friends help me write it. And that's where my rap career came off. And
wow, that's really cool, man. By the way, everybody, I'm speaking to Mr. Bernard Hardy, aka Big Nard. Big Nard is a hip hop artist out of the Bronx, but he's not just a hip hop artist. He's also, wait, did I say that wrong?
Yeah. I'm Hackensack, New Jersey.
Hackensack.
Big up to the Bronx, New York, Connecticut, tri-state area.
Bronx, right? What is it? Tell me where Bronx came from.
It's probably because of Call of Duty. When we played Call of Duty, the dude from the Bronx that was playing with us, you probably associated it. Okay, me and him were vibing. That's why you was like, yo, this guy's from the Bronx.
Yeah. Where the Bronx come from? You know what? I know what it was. Because we were talking, we were playing Call of Duty, and you mentioned Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
Oh, that was right. I got you.
And I made that. I guess that's still in my brain. Benny Blanco. Okay, so it's not Benny Blanco from the Bronx. This is Bernard Hardy from Hackensack. And Bernard is there's three things about Bernard that stand out. Now, and I want to kind of drill into these, and I'm gonna drill into actually the biggest one, the one that just really blew me away. All of them are impressive, but the one that blew me away was your daughter. But Bernard, basically, he's not just a hip hop artist; he's a great artist. You should really check out his music. I'm gonna put his website on the page in a minute. But also, you are into IT, which I think is cool because a lot of our people don't get exposed to things like that. Which there's so much money being made there. And then three, Bernard is really, really working hard with his daughter. And I want everybody to hear this because give me a yes or no if you know what I'm talking about when I say we got to educate our own kids. Give me a yes in the chat if you understand when I tell you guys, our Black Core 3, educate our own children, create our own jobs, support Black business. Give me a yes in the chat if you understand why you can't be letting these white people educate your kids. like they are qualified to fuck them up. Like just know this. I'm going to just keep it 100 with you guys. They are only qualified to mess your kids up. There's no disrespect to anybody else. It's not anti anybody. But the Jewish community, for example, their best and brightest are educated by their own people. With the Asian community, their best and brightest are educated by their own people. We cannot be that one group that thinks that we can send our children to their oppressors and expect them to be prepared to be successful in fighting oppression? Like why would your oppressor teach you how to fight oppression? That don't even make no sense, right? So let's talk about your daughter, man. First of all, what is your daughter's name? I want to honor that.
Yeah, my daughter's name is Brianna.
Brianna. All right. So little Brianna is how old now?
She just turned 3 on Sunday.
Okay, she just turned 3 on Sunday. Everybody say happy birthday, Brianna. Everybody say happy. How do you spell it? Spell it so everybody.
Brianna.
Brianna. So everybody say happy birthday, Brianna. So we can give this little queen love. All right. So you did something that was really cool, and I'm sure there's lots of parents who've done similar stuff, but I think every parent needs to hear about this. You got your daughter reading before a lot of kids can even walk, talk, or anything. Like, tell us about that.
Yeah. So it started as it was a friend in IT working at a company. He had a program that he told me about with his daughter, and I didn't have any kids or anything, but he was just telling me about it. And he said my daughter could read, and I was like, okay, And then he actually showed a video, and when I saw it, I was like, what the? It blew my mind because I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, yo, she's actually reading. She had to be like. She wasn't 2 years old, but I'm not exact, so I don't want to throw the wrong numbers out, but she was around 2 years old, and she was reading like very extremely well. So it threw me off, and I said, yo, how'd you do that? And he said he had this program called My Baby Can Learn, and at the time it was called My Baby Can Read. And then for some reason, the guy got sued and all this other stuff, because they said the kids couldn't one thing, parent complained that the kids couldn't understand the word. And for me, I'm like, who cares? If they could read, you're not going to understand every word you read. Even adults sometimes read words that we don't understand. So to me, that was weird. But I know how people, they complain about stuff. So they canceled it. I guess they canceled it, discontinued it. He got sued, and then it came back. So my brother, it actually started with my brother. So my brother, when I was telling you Wild Billy, my brother, my
by
nephew,
the way, shout out to Wild Bill. That's the brother you said they went to my event, right?
Yeah, yes.
When we first met, I remember you mentioned your brother. So shout out to your brother. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my brother, my nephew William Jr. My brother had a baby. So the first thing that came to my mind, I was like, you know what? Let me get this program that my friend showed me. And I told my brother, I said, listen, whatever you do, I know this works. So I want you to do this, and trust me, this is the most important thing you could do. I just said take my word for it, because I saw what it did to my friend's daughter, and then it actually worked. I guess by two and a half, my nephew, he was actually able to read, and it started. We was in the park. I didn't know he could actually read the way he could read. So we was in the park, and we're sitting there, and he just yelled pizza, and I'm like, what made you think of pizza? And when I looked up, there was an airplane, with the banner. I don't know the name of the pizza, but whoever got Billy Bob pizza, it was like whatever pizza. And I looked and I said, do you think he read pizza? Because I'm looking around, I said, there's no way that's a coincidence. And then that's when my brother and his wife was like, man, he's been reading. And I knew he could read, but I didn't know he could read like that. So they started writing the word gorilla on her. She had a BlackBerry at the time. She wrote the word gorilla and said, hey, what's this? And he said gorilla. And I'm like, yo, that's a pretty big word, man. And it was working. So shout out to my brother and his wife. They started the whole thing. So now I got my nephew as proof. And then the one thing that sealed the deal is we was in Staples, and I was like, hey, you know what? You can read. I'm looking for paper. Show me. Just point to where you see paper. Whenever you see the word paper, you point to it. You tell me how to get there. It's like a little game I was playing with him. So he shows me the paper. We walk down the hall. We walk to the paper aisle. I pick up the paper. I randomly picked up a pack of paper, and I said, what does that say? And he said, black carbon paper. I was like, yo, hold up, man.
How old was he when he did this?
He was about 3. I guess at that time he was like 3, a little around the 3 age.
I need to interrupt. Is everybody hearing this? I mean, are y'all hearing this? Like, process this for a minute, right? I need y'all to process this. Like, because we got to do some of this in slow motion, because I think we got to kind of meditate on this shit for a minute, right quick. You have a community that's really struggling, right? Like your community, we talk about being oppressed, being left behind economically, kids not getting educated. We sending all our kids off to these foreigners these people from other communities that, you know, from the suburbs educating our kids, and they're messing it up, right? I'm in Chicago. We got 18-year-olds who can't read. Like the literacy rate amongst the like 17, 18-year-olds is like incredibly low. Give me a yes if you've seen this, right? Like, so here you're talking about now. How old was your nephew again? Say it again. I apologize.
He was around at that time that he read the black carbon paper. He was about 3 years old.
Okay, so he had a nephew that was 3 that could read the words black carbon paper. There's a lot of 14-year-olds like going to school every day. You know, like think about it. They know all the like latest dances, like they know the Cardi B like lyrics, you know what I mean? Like they can dribble basketballs and throw footballs. But if you literally, if you put a gun to their head and say read black carbon paper or it's gonna cost you your life, some of those kids might not live to the next day, right? No, not to make it gruesome, but see, like to literally save their own life. Some of these kids couldn't read something as simple as black carbon paper. And I really just kind of think we got to process this, because it helps us understand. I'm not even advocating for this product. I don't even know the people who made this product. You can get, I'm sure there's others out there, whatever. I'm just talking about the fact that there's solutions out here, and there are people in the community, particularly strong fathers like this brother, who are taking the lead in that, right? So I want you to keep telling your story, man. But I'm so impressed with what you're saying that I was like, okay, let's really like analyze what's being said right here. Let's not just gloss over it. Like, but go ahead, man. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so that's what happened. So obviously, when my daughter, so my brother, because he didn't start as early. So as soon as my daughter was born, I was waiting to get her in front of this. So I started when she was 3 months old. That's when I started. So she can't talk. She can't. So the whole time when I was doing it, I don't know if she's learning anything because she can't talk, right? So she just she's going about her business. And but I would continuously do it because I know it worked. And I said, you know what? If I started earlier, and let's see what happens. It was basically that's how it went. About when she got about 8 months old, she started following what the words were and doing the gestures. And I saw, for me, I'm looking, and I'm analytical. I'm an IT guy, so if you show me something, you got to show me that it's real. So when my daughter was doing, I said, man, she must be memorizing this. And she would know the words, and I would just go on, if she just looking at the words, so I would change up the words and write it myself. And then she started to read my handwriting. So I'm like, wait a minute. I got chicken scratch, just so you know. So you know how people say doctors got the terrible handwriting? I would be a doctor because my handwriting is terrible. And my daughter read my handwriting and she read it. So I'm like, so not only is she just looking at the text, the typeface, she understands that this C that doesn't look like the C that she's been looking at is C. So she knew how to distinguish each letter. Yeah. And that's 8 months old. But remember, she's not really she's not talking and stuff like that, but she could react. So I'm watching her reaction. So like in this video, and it's like your baby can learn. I'm not advocating either. I'm not connected to it. I'm not advocating specifically this program, but I'm telling you, I know this one. This is the one that I know. So that's why I'm talking in regards to this, the one that I know. But the way she, when I was watching her, I noticed that she's picking it up and she would do the gesture. So if it says clap, she started doing the clapping. And then all of the action words, touch your nose, she would touch her ear, but she's trying to touch something like her ear. And so I'm like, wow, like this is interesting. So then I would just mix it up. So by the time she was a year, that's when I started realizing she's actually putting it together. And what happened is, and it's not like it's something that I was doing on a regimen, like at this time, and I wasn't pushing it down her throat. It was, and the funny thing about it is there was no, she likes it. It was a video. So it started out as a video. So she liked the video. And then what it does is it has a word and a little arrow goes as it says the word, and it changes the fonts. And then they'll show a little picture of a kid playing a ball if the word is ball. And it runs the system like that and just goes through a series of words. And then I didn't realize she's picking it up. And then she knew that reading is from left to right. So I'm saying, wow, my daughter's picking this up. And like I said, about a year is when I started really understanding, because as she started to understand the words, she started to recognize that some words she could tell it, this word, like she'll get it mixed up if it's similar, but she could see that these words are similar. And this is just her not talking yet. And then the first instance, I think it's about a year and a half is when she started saying words. Like she said, her first word was duck. So she was able to say duck at about a year and a half. But then that's when the clap came up, and then she'll start actually saying the words. So from that point on, all of the stuff that she was watching back then, and it's weird because it actually teaches her grammar. So to give an example, she could tell the difference between time and Tim. And yeah, so it's not like it's like, and I don't know if you didn't mention, but what happened is what I did for Dr. Boyce is I had my daughter read and just so he knows that it's official, he did you did a video, and what I did is I had her read the title of the video. So this is where you know that she read that video and that title, and she said she didn't know your name or anything. She read your name pretty. What did you think?
Oh, I was impressed. I heard stock market. It wasn't no simple title either, man. I mean, it was really cool and impressive. And by the way, everybody, if you just came in, I'm speaking with Bernard Hardy, aka Big Nard. He's a rapper out of New Jersey, and he's also a great dad. He's an expert at IT and just a cool dude. And he's also fun to play Call of Duty with. In case you guys know, I've been on my little journey where I jumped into Call of Duty for fun, and I met some real interesting Black folks that are B1 all the way. And I just was so impressed with this father that I said, I'd love to have this brother on just to talk about this. And so do me a favor, everybody, hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. And I want you to really kind of understand, and we're going to continue this conversation, but I really want you to process this, because I want you to never, ever think that there are not solutions out there that can put your kids ahead. Like this is going to make a difference for your daughter, man. I'm talking to you and everybody else, but like what I'm hearing is something that is just revolutionary for your daughter. The fact that she is already like not just reading, but she's loving it, so that this is the type of child that gets to where she's 6 and she's, in the first grade, and she's just reading every book she can get her hands on, because she doesn't know, she's not, they what's that song when they said a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind, right? So she doesn't know about the anti-intellectualism that plagues our community. She doesn't know about the people that are, that somehow think that being smart is bad, right? Like she knows right now that reading is fun, that it's fun to be smart. And you and I were talking about that now, and we were talking about the importance of really making sure like her confidence or her self-esteem is at an all-time high, so that when she's finally exposed to the world and realizes that the rest of the world didn't have a great father like you that was exposing her to these things early, that she can take the lead. She'll be the leader, not the follower. Because I don't know if you know this, man, but because you're in the hip-hop music space, so what I'm talking about. You get a lot of smart people. You have a lot of smart Black people who pretend to be dumb so they can fit in. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Has anybody else seen that, where you will see like the most brilliant Black person who literally will hide their intelligence? Like, I don't want to be too smart because I don't want them to think I'm uppity. I'm trying to be white. And it's like, man, to hell with that. Like, you better be as smart as you need to be, because they're trying to oppress you. They're trying to take everything away from you. They're trying to pull the okie doke on you every day. So if you can't play chess and you barely know how to play checkers, you're gonna get played every time. So can you talk about that in terms of just your thoughts as a father on developing your daughter in all the other areas, so that when she goes into the world, she has all this intelligence, and from what I know about you, your daughter she'll probably own shares of stock when she's like 4 or 5 years old. She'll be talking about things that a lot of 40-year-olds ain't ready for yet. So how are you preparing her for that, as a human being, beyond the intellectual side of who she is?
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, that's why I asked you that question, because I was is a concern of mine, because I know that just from an IT perspective, like, so sometimes people don't even know that I do IT, because I normally don't really have conversations about it. So in fact, so a lot of people who know me that is seeing this video, some of them might say, oh man, I didn't know he was an IT professional. So because at certain points I wouldn't talk about it. It's almost like I said, I do all kinds of music, right? So sometimes because of environments and certain things, the way we're programmed, I wouldn't play, like I listen to jazz, but sometimes I throw like me and my people will throw on like a rock song that I like, right? But what happens is you can't pump a rock song with your windows down, blasting in the summer and cruising, because then it just has a different type of a thing. And a lot of times people take, in, like you said, intelligence. Some people take things and then use it as, oh man, that's a weakness. And it sounds kind of sounds crazy, but you tend to, it's like intelligence is soft in a sense. So what happens is don't realize that intelligence is actually a strength, and it's a super strength, and it allows you to navigate a lot easier and a lot better. Because in fact, like that's pretty much why I was into IT, because I had this information, this knowledge that I was blessed to get, because that was a blessing. Because again, my mindset was shipping and receiving. I knew all this computer stuff, but my programming was shipping and receiving. So I would have continued shipping and receiving had I not got fortunate to get an opportunity to get into the sales floor. So that manager that put me on the sales floor, it changed. When I went from that door from shipping into sales, my mind shifted as well. And it changed the way I think. Took a long time though, so it's not like a process. My mind, I had a lot of corruption in my mind, but it took a while for me to get to that point where I started to understand the importance. So navigating for my daughter, I'm saying I didn't like reading. The funny thing about it is I didn't like reading. And the way I learned to read was I used to like martial arts, like Bruce Lee. So I would go to this bookstore, look at the martial arts books, sit down there, and then I saw these Filipino kids, a whole group of them, and they were hanging out by the bookstore. They were like excited. So I'm sitting there looking at the books, and I'm looking over at them, and I'm like, what the hell is so excited over there? So when they left, I walked over and started looking to see what they were looking at, and it was just like these action books. And when I did it, there was a book back then. It was like an adventure story, but it was a martial. It had ninjas, and it was like an IT guy, like a computer, like a CIA James Bond type guy. And when I looked at it, it had code. So you had a computer code in it. So I was like, whoa, this is cool. So that had me interested because it pulled me into reading, because you read the story and then you got to type this code in your computer, and then the input will give you the answer to part of the book, and then you read on. So shout out to whoever made that book, because that book got me into reading. So that's where for me, that's where reading came from. So I already understood I could read, but it's just that reading wasn't something that I was pursuing readily, and that changed the way it happened. So that's that's what got my excitement when my friend showed me his daughter reading, because I understood. I was like, wow, I saw the power of it, even though I didn't have a child. And this thing, I tell everybody this. So this story, I try to tell people, and I be pushing. In fact, I'm gonna just jump in. I don't want to go all over the place, but I have a mechanic, just to throw this out there. He has a son because he met my daughter, and then he's like, what? Like, he was just blown away. But his son is a little older than my daughter, so his son wasn't really talking, and wasn't really reading. So when I showed him, I said, listen, this is what you should do. And trust me, I tell him like 100 times. And I'm aggressive, man. So if I see something, I'm so passionate about it, and I see a problem, I'm gonna push it. I'm gonna push it on you. And that's just me. So I kept pushing it, and I said, listen, man, you messing up. You heard me when I did it with GMAC. Yeah. So when that's how I do it. So then finally I said, listen, your son's autistic. I said, and I'm thinking that he's gonna have a confidence issue, because people know that he might not fit in with the other people. But I said, what might happen is give him the opportunity to read. I said, you got nothing to lose. I said, try the program. If it doesn't work, then you have nothing to lose, but you have so much more to gain. That's why I kept pushing him. So then finally he went and got it. And then I talked to him like a couple of weeks ago, and he said his son can actually read. Now he found out that his son is autistic, and like he can't really talk, but he can read. And by reading, he knows, because the same way my daughter couldn't talk, I knew she could read. So I didn't get into the specifics with him, but I know when he said it, I knew exactly that he knows his son can read, even though his son can't talk. Because you don't need to talk to know how to read. So
right.
So that right there, he's autistic. And like I said, I wish he would have. I wish he would have did it like a year ago when I kept pressing it. But better than never. Let's say you think it's never too late. Let's just put it that way. Right. So I don't care how old they are. And I don't know. Like, again, I'm not a professional. I'm not in regards to telling people what reading works. But I'm saying if it can work for my daughter, if anybody out there that's listening to me and you can't read, and you know you can't read, then you could actually on the side start doing the same process. It might work. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because I know that there's probably people who can't read that's afraid to say they can't read because there's also, if you're too intelligent, then what happens is it becomes a problem. And if you're not intelligent enough, it becomes a problem. So, you know, you kind of got to be at a certain point where if you're not in that sweet spot, you know, and it makes it really tough where a person that can't read might want to hide it, just like a person who, like when sometimes I was hiding that I'm an IT dude because it has that, probably has that same thing. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just telling you from my perspective that I would say if you can't read and you hear this and you know you can't read, I would say go ahead and try it. Learn how to read on your own with YouTube or something if you're afraid to show somebody, because you can learn. My daughter did it. And so, you know, I know everybody can do it. And my daughter is not some special genius that was able to, you know, she was born with this specific ability to read. This is just, and I saw it with my nephew, the autistic, my friend, the mechanic, his son. So, and his son's autistic, right? So not in a sense that, but I'm saying he already, I guess the attention aspects it would be difficult for him, and he did it. So I would say anybody could do it. That's the point. I don't want to keep overrunning, but anyone could do it.
Well, you know, I think that's that what you're talking about is it's important, and I wish, you know, I wish that we could you know, just kind of get past all this nonsense that taught our kids that it was cool to be stupid anyway. Like there ain't nothing cool about not being educated, you know, and the fact that we label ourselves, you know, as the niggas in the room, you know, like we call ourselves that, you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like they ain't got to call us the N word. We call ourselves that. Right. And when you call yourself something, you kind of behave the way you think that person's going to behave. Like you play the part. Right. So as much as we want to act like it's just the, you know, somebody else's oppression that keeps us where we're at, we got to realize that, you know, we are oppressors too. We oppress ourselves. Right. And I think that it's I mean, you've just noticed, for example, you know, I don't know, let's say this video that we're doing gets, you know, 5,000 views or 10,000 or something like that. If I was talking to like some rapper that could barely spell his mama's name, you know, but he's famous enough because white people put him on TV, the video would have 500,000 views. Right. You know, and they say that, you know, that your power to manifest, the God in you manifests whatever you put energy into. So if you're going to put just a little bit of energy into the guy that's teaching you how to set your kids on a trajectory that's going to make them successful, but you're putting all your energy into the guy that's teaching your kids how to self-destruct, then you're putting energy into your own self-destruction. You are praying for your own genocide. And I'm just asking everybody in the room to understand this. You know, this is a deep statement. A lot of people won't get it, but you got to stop praying for your own self-destruction. Like you can't do that, right? So, by the way, Bernard, as you can tell, is a great storyteller, and he happens to be an author. And the website for his book is right here. It's GoTA. That's it, right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Tell us about that, man. And then I want people to hear a little bit more from you as a rapper. You said you would do a verse for us, but before we get into that, so it's real fascinating. You know, your mind's creative. You do a lot of interesting stuff. So tell us about your book, GoTA. What's this? It's like a sci-fi type thing.
Correct. Sci-fi. You know, it's the geeky side. So it's sci-fi interdimensional epic. Now what happened is it stemmed from the lessons for the children. But my friend wanted me to teach the kids about IT. It turned into me creating the book because I said, hey man, I need characters, because I was trying to figure out a way that I could be effective at delivering this message, because I figured it might be a one-shot deal. These kids might never see me again. And everything I wanted to say stuff that would probably stick in their head, whether they knew about it or not. So, and then that's where the concept came from, because there was things like I was saying earlier that you don't know. Somebody tell you something, but you don't know. And then when I was using that part about, you know, you say something about my mama, I hit you. That was a mindset. And it was based on me referencing what I've noticed and what I saw. So I learned, like, as I was growing up, you know, we did knucklehead stuff. So what happened is, as I was doing a lot of my knucklehead stuff was me doing something that I saw somebody else do, or it was what I thought you should do without processing it. So I was figuring maybe I could say stuff to them. So if they run into a situation, they may hear my voice and they go, oh, you know what? Let me do that instead of doing this. So that was the concept of where the GODA came from. The book came from me trying to come up with a way to reach kids and adults, but younger adults to learn from things that happen and the decisions that you make. And then so the book is based on a guy named Cranus and Abel, and then you got Compass Ion, but it's Compass Ion is the Compass Ion is compassion. So Compass Ion, the word compassion. So she's one of the characters, and then Cranus and Abel are two protagonist, antagonist, and what they do is the decisions that they make, they're both equally yoked, so to speak. They have the same abilities, the same minds, but then you see how when they make different decisions that they turn into different people. And then that's where the journey comes from.
So they make different decisions, they turn into different people.
Well, what happened is you see their path and who they become. So Abel is a scientist. Cranus is just a more general, well-rounded, educated person. And then when you see the decisions, it determines what they do in life. So like a bully, I was using an example of a bully. So we look at a bully, but there's a thing that created that bully. Decisions that people in his life made, decisions that the bully himself made, creates a bully environment. And then what happened is there's another, the other person, he's a victim, but then sometimes that victim is victimized as well, which each person is a separate thing, but it explains why the bully attacked the kid, because something happened to that bully when he was at home or something happened in his neighborhood that caused them. So then you can see the whole chain of events. So it uses good or bad, and then we determine what's good and what's bad based on perspective. So the interdimensional part is Abel becomes a scientist. The GODA is a special relic or element that allows any habits that you create, it enhances them. So the thing is, if you're doing something good, it enhances what you're good at. So compass, and that's what it is. And it turns into this epic where they basically they jump in dimensions, and it goes into a whole cosmic aspects of what they do. And in the Earth, they try to the universe becomes as an actual living entity, and it tries to correct some of the stuff because it gets really exciting. Sorry about that whole thing, but it gets excited.
That's nothing to apologize for. You know what it makes me think about when you said the GODA? Two things. Well, one simple thing it makes me think about is you talk about the GODA, something that accelerates and accentuates what you already are. Like I think like money does that. Like if you're an asshole before you got money, you'll be a big asshole when you get money. If you're a generous person before you get money, you're gonna be super generous when you get more money. Like money is like an accelerator in that way, but then also, or even power, is like that too. You know what I mean? Like you give power to the wrong person, man, they become like a thunderstorm, a walking tornado, like a Donald Trump. You know what I mean? But then it's like the other thing it made me think about. We talk about how choices play out. I remember that movie, The Butterfly Effect, with Ashton Kutcher. Anybody else see that? Do you see that movie? Yeah, you got to check it out, man. It's all about this guy that every time he makes a different decision, things would kind of change, and then he would go back in time and change his decision, but then it would create a whole different reality he didn't expect, and it makes and on a serious tip, I remember a time where I went to go pick up my daughter, and my daughter was she was real upset, she was crying, and I was like, "Why are you crying?" And she said that this little boy that my friend used to babysit, he's 3 years old, he got shot in the head. And I was like, how does a 3-year-old get shot in the head? Right. Just it's crazy that we have these stories out here like that. And basically there was this dude who was like a little 19-year-old wannabe thug, wearing a wife beater, got into an argument with the boy's mother. And he goes over there and he just starts standing outside the house. He just starts shooting his gun off right into the house. And there was like a bunch of kids in the house, like maybe like 7 kids. And they were all under like 9 years old playing in the house. And the little boy got shot in the brain, and he survived for 3 days and then he died, And it was just kind of like, it made me sad. Like that story made me cry, not just like for the little boy, but it made me cry for the little boy who shot him, because I was like, wait, like when you get my age, like 19 is young, like 19 is not an old man. You know what I mean? Like, and I was thinking like, man, just a few years ago, this little boy, this so-called thug, was like a sweet little kid like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, they don't come out wanting to kill people. You know what I mean? like we turn them into killers. Like, and so I thought about it. I said, so that means like every time, like the little boy, he was probably at a time where all he wanted was like a hug. And instead of getting a hug, somebody like spit on him. You know what I mean? He wanted somebody to look up to. Instead of getting that, like he got somebody that like treated him like crap. And so that's how you turn a sweet child into this, wannabe gangster who's going to, bust off a whole clip into a house full of kids. Right. And that's when I really started thinking more about the village, and just how, whether we, when we see kids that are astray, and I know you get this because I know how you gotten involved with black kids that, they weren't even yours. You know what I mean? Like you get all these little weak guys that are like, well, if it ain't my kid, I don't care. Well, it's like, no, let me help you understand this a little bit better. When those kids are around you and they need your guidance, like whether you act or don't act, there's going to be a consequence. There's going to be a consequence whether you intervene or you don't intervene. If you don't intervene, that kid might grow up and become the thug that comes and kills one of your kids or kills somebody else's child, right? If you do intervene, then you're going to get a more positive outcome. So when I heard that story, that was one of the things that made me say, it's my job as a black man. If I really care about black people, I got to intervene. Like I have no choice. If that little kid is 6 and they're looking for some encouraging words or they need a meal or whatever, $2 out of my pocket, I gotta intervene. And I just really think that if we took more accountability as men, and I want you to speak on this because I know how you're built. I think as men, if we took more accountability for all the outcomes in our community, then our community would be better off. You got too many people that are like, well, that ain't my kid. I ain't got to worry about it. It's like, nah, man, like they're all our kids, Yeah. So can you kind of speak to that, just in terms of your experience with that and your perspective on that?
Oh, definitely. So the first thing is, when you hear people say, well, if they did that to my kid, then I would do this and that. And I'm like, well, why would you wait till they do it to your kid to do it when you've seen it happen? Do exactly what you would do for your kid, for everybody else's kid, because we're all a family. So your child is my child for the most part. So what happens is, that's why I appreciate Dr. Boyce putting me on to say this, because he heard me say it, and he said, hey, listen, I'm gonna have you on. I want you to say this on the show because I want to let my community know that it's important to read, and I think you should get on the show. Now that threw me off, Doc, because I wasn't expecting that. He's like, hey, so I said, all right, perfect, man, I'll definitely do it. But when you did that, because we're playing Call of Duty, so there's no special connection other than that we were a band of brothers playing Call of Duty, and he decided that this is so important that it'll help the community that I want you to come here and share it. So I just wanted to give a shout out because that's official, that's authentic, and that means you love your community, man. So I definitely want to shoot you out for that because I was shocked when you did it, and I'm here now. So this is real. So it's not him just talking. This brother right here, regardless of what anybody think, I don't care what you think, this brother loves you. And I'm going to tell you that for a fact. That's why I'm here. He put me on, and I definitely appreciate you a million times for this.
Well, the honor is all mine. And everybody watching, by the way, if you want to follow Bernard's Twitch channel, it's right there. He goes by Lord Colossius. He's a real interesting guy to listen to. So, you go to his Twitch channel, he's always going to have something interesting to tell you about. But go ahead, man. I'll zip it up. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So just an example, a story happened to me. I'll just sum it up quick. There was an incident that happened in my neighborhood, and I was in high school, around just out of high school, and one of my friends came and said, hey man, one of the people on the store on the corner, they attacked some kids and the police are there and everything. So I was like, you know what, let's go see what's going on. So me and my friends, we came over, and then when we looked at the situation, they were like, yeah, they attacked this girl. They thought these kids are like 8 years old, I think 8, 9 years old. So they were talking about that the one of the guys put a cigarette to the little girl because he thought she stole candy, supposedly spit on the little boy. And I'm like, yo, man, we can't have people setting up shop in our community and then disrespecting our kids. Now, remember, we're in the hood. So how are we're going to be in the hood and you letting some other people come into our neighborhood? And there was a store on the corner. I can't remember the name, but it was but there was a store on the corner on Central Avenue. I got to shoot it out, man. Because if they still there, we still need to put them on blast. On Central Avenue on Central Ave and First Street. Now, again, if it's not the store, I ain't trying to put you out on blast, but I'm gonna just say the people who at that time which was like about 20 years ago. But the people at that time who did that, you need to be on blast if you're still there. So what happened is, because I went and I tried to say, hey, listen, man, we got to do something about it. So I went, I started asking the pastors. I said, who are these people? Does anybody know who these kids were? And then one of the pastors out of Newark called me back and he said, hey, listen, I know the pastor that they go to church with. So he says, I could set up a meeting that, me, you, and the pastor, we could meet and talk about what we could do. So I said, let's do it. Pastor he actually took me to their house. So I meet the mother. The mother was scared. She's like, oh, I don't want to mess with them. They're dangerous, just in regards to people outside the neighborhood. And I was like, well, we got your back. I said, don't worry about it. I said, well, we're going to find out what we could do, and we'll take it here. I said, you're good. And then I told my mom, and my mom said, well, what's their last name? And it was Wood, last name Wood. And she goes, man, those are your cousins. They were my cousins. So just in the gist of what you were saying, I didn't know who they were, right? But now nobody stepped up. So they would have just, and she was scared, so they wasn't going to press charges. They weren't going to do anything. And then I find out it's my cousin. So when you think it ain't your kid that's happening there, you don't know what that situation is. You don't know who they are. So it's your obligation to help, because next thing you know, that was my cousin. Those were my cousins. And I didn't have a real relationship with them at the time, so I didn't know who they were. Like, how we got family that you just, in the neighborhood, I didn't know who they were. So my mom said, no, those are your cousins. So that kid, those two kids, happened to be my cousin, man. So fortunately, we went to court, and then we went through the whole process, and then, it didn't work out right. We had the whole community, again, we fell apart. The lawyer didn't show up. And then what happened is the guy that did it, he pleaded that he did it. He agreed that he did it, but his lawyer talked to the judge, and then boom, it was over with a fine. And I'm like, how do you get away with a fine abusing kids? And then I even threw flyers out. I made flyers, threw flyers out. And the crazy thing about it is, like, the store got more business. Like, they must have not read the flyers that I was saying, shut them down. But the store got more business. But that's why we need to step up. If anything happens, we're all a community. So your son, your daughter is my son and my daughter. And I want you to treat my daughter the same way. So if we look at each other and we love each other as a family, I think that'll go a long way. But I just wanted to shoot that out. But that plays to what you were just saying, though. I hope that.
Everybody, I hope you'll applaud this brother, for being a real man. We need more real men in the community that are going to take responsibility for what's happening in the community. So, shout this brother out. Go to his website, whatever you can do to be supportive. I mean, because these are the real men we got to support, because we got a lot of fake men out here. Some of them got big platforms, but they're little boys. They're little boys with hair on their balls. That's it. They just think that they're a man because they got hair on their balls, but they really ain't got no balls. So it's really a big hairy vagina that you're looking at. But you think it's a man because he knows how to act like, dress like a man and get tattoos and drink whiskey. But manhood is deeper than that. Like, manhood means stepping up and stepping through. It means looking out for the children. It means protecting the women. It means really coming through. And if you want to know what drove me to say, I wasn't playing when I play. You guys know I'll get on there. I was playing Call of Duty. I wasn't looking for people to bring on the podcast, but as you kept telling these stories, I was like, okay, there's a lot going on here. And these are the types of people we should know about. Like, a lot of you maybe had a real man. We're lucky enough to have a real man in your household. Maybe you had a real man as a father. Maybe you had a real man as a stepfather. I had a real man who was a stepfather, who taught me that rough side of manhood, right? My dad literally can say he's killed people. He's had to do what he's had to do. But also he showed me the other side of manhood, which came through loving a black woman, really stepping up for us as kids. And I know that I wouldn't have been the man that I am if it wasn't for my father taking that time to say, you know what, I can love this kid. He's not my own, but I'm gonna look out for him, and I can tell you that we got to applaud these people that are doing that, because those are the people that are holding the community together. And a lot of you are also mothers, and you may not have had children. Like, so shout out also to the mothers that have never given birth, but what a mother is. Some of y'all are better mothers than the women who have actually given birth to a baby. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And so I just really think that this very feminine movement that's kind of happening, where you got these men that are like, well, I can't be around a woman that got kids with another guy. I think that's why our community fails, because what happens is that you have the first set of weak men that abandon their kids, and then you have the second set of weak men that don't even want to come in and step in and support, right? And I know a lot of guys who wouldn't be who they are or where they are today if it wasn't for a football coach that stepped in when your dad wasn't there, or a track coach that stepped in when your dad wasn't there. I was a track coach back in the day, and I had to replace a lot of fathers, and I loved it. It was like a blessing. And I think that if you are pro-Black, you cannot be anti-Black woman. You cannot be anti-Black child. Because if you are, then that effectively, unfortunately, makes you a white supremacist, because, we got plenty of people that are anti-Black children. They're the ones who wanted to put your kids in prison. So anyway, let me ask you this, man. So you're also a hip hop artist. He goes by the name of Big Nard. I'm speaking to Bernard Hardy, by the way. And you can follow him on Twitch at Lord Colossius. It's spelled right there. Also, here's his website for his book. So he's an author, a father, a hip hop artist, and an IT expert. So this brother knows how to do it all. You remind me of that guy. Is it RZA? That's the real smart one in the Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah. So we got another RZA on our hands. All right. So I would love to hear a verse.
Definitely.
Can you give us a verse a cappella?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right.
Just on. Let them know you're ready. Let them know you want to hear first. Go ahead, man.
All right, you guys ready? Y'all guys ready?
Yep,
all right, let's do this. All right. So we're gonna do you want to achieve, you gotta believe. You gotta believe that you could achieve. Now, can you believe the unbelievable is even achievable? Set your goals, make them reachable. Never quit till you see it through. Never say you can't, because it's reachable. First thing to do is create a to-do list. Now, whether you knew this or already do this, you still need to do it on paper, tablet, phones, or computers. Bad habits, the rulers. The rule of bad habits, they break with commitment, persistence, and practice. When put into practice, success is practically automatic. When continuous self-improvement process becomes a habit, what you visualize, you will realize. That is limitless, way beyond the skies. Focus your eyes on the prize till it's materialized. Everything you think and believe it magnetized. So release stress and negativity and realize that the energy inside is positivity and will energize and create a vibe that radiates everything around you until your dreams come alive. Yeah, you gotta give me one more. You gotta give me one more. You gotta give me one more. One more?
Oh, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
I just figured I wanted to change it. I wanted to do this other. All right, so this was a little different, but hey, so it's everything ATE. I grab a mic, step on stage, then I demonstrate. Rappers imitate. Now remember, this is like 30 years old. That's why I wanted to do it. I grab a mic, step on stage. I grab on Boyce Watkins show, step on stage, then I demonstrate. Rappers imitate what I generate for the whole generation to appreciate. That initiates me to detonate. You'll disintegrate, then I'll incinerate. You in the crew should have got it straight. Up, it's too late, you met your fate, but you might be lucky because the way you operate makes it real easy for me to reincarnate with the live rhymes that we animate. Now, if I bring it back, drop that paper, mate. Call it checkmate because you took the bait. So there's no need to debate because you should have known the great would orchestrate to put you in this situation, son. I knew you would dictate because you're a primate, mere paperweight, and I'm a heavyweight who wouldn't hesitate to decapitate and terminate anyone I could see that wanted to duplicate. See, what they try to do is quickly penetrate, but the mind state accelerate and escalate straight to the top 8 at 8, spread from state to state, so they hate that they can't replicate, so the whole form frustrates, so they're left to defecate. And I won't exaggerate, MCs immaculate from what I try to incorporate, but they all fail because my format complicates, making it hard for the rap to concentrate. But if they want trouble, I tell you it could wait because I'm quick to go to war like a weight. Drop a small bomb just to scare them. Let them retaliate, then give them time to recuperate. Cause next time I'ma let the rhyme radiate, shun them to death till they dissipate, evaporate and obliterate. My style devastates cause I'm the dominant. So don't associate or affiliate, just separate me from the ones you overrate, who really underrate when put against me, the ultimate MC. I just wanted to do that one. That's just a little different. Hey, you still there?
Wow, yeah, man. I was listening, man. I'm like out of breath. That was a verse, man. Yeah, so everybody give a Big Nard a round of applause on that. And actually, this is that your album, Unbelievable? Because I looked it up.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Unbelievable is the it's a single. I'm putting the album together. That's the single, but you can check me out on any Big Nard Bernard, Spotify, all of the different platforms out there. This album will be coming soon, but I just wanted to. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, very nice, man. Very nice. Yeah, there it is on the screen. If anybody wants to go look it up. Yeah, so I found Unbelievable. And if you look up Big Nard, Bignard, Bignard, then you can find everything that Bernard is doing. And so this is the new Notorious B.I.G. And he's on a mission, and he's on a mission for the Black community. He's 100% B1. And in general, you guys might see me talk, shouting out different artists periodically, because I personally believe we need to really go out of our way to support the artists that are B1, that put the Black community first, that really want our children to do well, that want to walk away from the ignorance and walk towards something that's powerful, walk to a real power. And so that's why I respect you, man. And I think it's great. So thank you for hanging out with us, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, listen, man, I appreciate you, honor you, and thank you for the platform, man. I appreciate you.
All right, same here, man. Same here. So everybody, give a round of digital applause to Bernard Hardy, aka Big Nard. If you want to learn more about his book, now when's that book coming out? Gautier, G-O-T-I-H-E. When's that coming out?
Yeah, so it's still a little bit away. Probably in a couple months it'll be coming out. But you can go to the website. I'm putting out like little mini stories. Every couple of weeks we'll be putting out a little mini story. So you can follow it up to the lead of the book.
Oh, okay. So you're going to put the mini stories out on the website,
correct,
on Gautier.com, so people can actually go download the stories as you're preparing the book.
Correct. You can read the stories. There's a blog that I'm doing. So I got a couple part series, and I'm going to be actually putting parts of the story in the blog so you can actually read up on it. Like every couple of weeks, we'll throw out a section, and it follows along for a story. So this one is about Compass Ion, two sides of the mountain. And it's basically the difficulty of actually achieving something. And also when people see that you have the success, what it looks like from that perspective. So that's why I'm saying the two sides of the mountain. It's rough getting there. They see somebody sliding down or like, skiing or whatever. They go, oh man, it look like they're having fun. But when you look at what it took them to get there, then you realize that it was a tough road. But people want the part where they're at the top coming down, as opposed to the part of what she did to get up to that top of that mountain. So that's what this series is starting. And actually, I think yesterday. Yeah, so the stories out there yesterday. Read it on the blog. Let me know what you think. Feedback, love feedback. And but I definitely appreciate it, and definitely look forward to meeting everybody.
All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. This was really a lot of fun. And also, don't forget, this is the platform for intelligent Black people. So if you're not Black and intelligent, then this probably ain't the place for you. But everybody that wants to build the future, wants to see the community prosper, this is a place where I'm going to actually feature a lot of great people like Bernard. We've been doing this for a while, and I hope you will take the proactive step of going to support some of the projects he's got going on, because ignorance, it may appear that ignorance is winning, but that's only temporary. At some point, intelligent Black people will be building the future. So everybody take care, hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet, and we will see you guys soon. So take care. I'll talk to you soon. Be good.
There you go.